we love food, colored green, bell peppers and long string beans, pickles, celery, cucumbers too. All these foods are good for you.
Welcome to Storytime Cooks, where we learn about food through books. Today we're going to be reading one of my childhood favorites, 18 Cousins by Carol Hogan. I don't know that I have 18 cousins, but this child does, and they go on a trip to a farm and get to visit them. Let's see what happens. I went for a visit. I went to a farm. I went to my cousins where it was warm. I went to my cousins whom I'd never seen, and I counted my cousins, and I counted 18. That would be so much fun, wouldn't it, to have 18 cousins? I looked at a horse down on the farm, and I looked at a pig out by the barn. And for some reason, I think maybe this little boy probably didn't live on a farm, so seeing a horse and a pig were probably a lot of fun. And that might be something we would like to do as well. I looked at a cow. It was a she. I looked at a lamb. But what did I see? What do you think he might have seen next? His 18 cousins a-looking at me. I watched baby chicks scratch on the ground. I watched baby ducklings waddle around. And here are the ducks and the chicks. They're so cute and fluffy. I watched a new gosling peck at a tree, and I watched an old rooster. But what did I see? Anybody know what he might have been seeing? There they are, 18 cousins a-watching me. They were probably wondering what he was thinking when he was on the farm. I sniffed the sky, I sniffed the air, I sniffed at flowers that grew everywhere. There's some pretty yellow flowers in the grass, and that nice green grass. I sniffed dandelions that grew close to me. They grew by my feet like a big yellow sea. I sniffed and I sniffed and I sniffed, but what did I see? I bet you guys might know this time. That's right, 18 cousins, a-sniffing like me. They were smelling the dandelions as well. I took it off my shoes. I knew I must, and I walked in the garden in the soft brown dust. And that is a pretty garden. There's tomatoes, and it looks like some cabbage or lettuce and just all kinds of things. I walked through the grass as high as my knee. I walked a little faster, but what did I see? Here they are, 18 cousins a-walking after me. They're probably going to see where he's going to go next. I nibbled a carrot. I nibbled a pea. I nibbled green leaves. But what did I see? 18 cousins a-nibbling like me. He's nibbling on that carrot, a bright orange carrot. I jumped up and down, and what did I see? 18 cousins a-jumping after me. It's almost like he was playing follow the leader and he didn't even know it. I ran down the lane. I ran through the woods. I ran through the meadow as fast as I could. As fast as I could, as fast as could be, I ran like the wind. But what did I see? You guessed it. 18 cousins a-running after me. I chased a bobwhite back to his nest, and a bobwhite's a bird. And I chased a bunny, stopping to rest. And that bunny has a big, white, fluffy tail. I chased a butterfly, and I chased a bee, and I chased a grasshopper. But what did I see? 18 cousins a-chasing after me. I came to a brook, and and that's a little place where there's water. I had to stop, but a frog splashed in with a big kerplop. Up came the snails in the little green brook. Up came a fish to take a look. Up came a beetle, and up came a flea. Up came a glider, but what did I see? I tried to hide. I fell on my knee. I fell in the grass, and I couldn't get free. Those 18 cousins were coming close to me. I tugged and tugged, but what did I see? 18 cousins, and they caught me. And they're going to have a really good time because they laughed out loud and we laughed out long. We laughed and we laughed and we laughed a song. We laughed because it's fun to be 18 cousins and one little me. They were really excited to have their cousin come to visit, and they had a really good time. If you remember back in our story, he was in the garden. And there's all kinds of things that grow in the garden. We might have tomatoes that grow in the garden, and tomatoes grow on a vine or a plant, and these are great big red tomatoes. And then we might have some cucumbers, and they grow on a vine as well. They're closer to the ground than what those tomatoes are, and they're going to be nice and green. And then they might have had some lettuce or some leafy greens in their garden, and they grow on the ground. All these things we need to make sure we wash really well before we eat them, just like we need to wash our hands before we cook. But today we're going to make an easy salad with some of these ingredients that we've just talked about. So when you think about a salad, you usually think about one that's all mixed together. And sometimes there are some of us who really don't like our foods mixed together. So it might be that we would like our salads better if they were in separate little sections. You could even put the different ingredients in a little muffin cup or a divided plate if we have children who would prefer that their foods didn't touch. But it's interesting when we think about the different things we could put on a salad, and the possibilities are endless. This salad has got some greens and some red tomatoes and some cucumbers, and you might want to peel the cucumber if that makes it easier for little ones to eat. We've got some chicken, and we have some corn. And one thing about corn, if you use frozen corn, make sure you cook it first. Sometimes we're tempted maybe just to run some water over it and thaw it out, but frozen vegetables are meant to be cooked before they're eaten. So make sure you cook that first. You could add some avocado, you could add all kinds of seeds, carrots. The possibilities are just endless. And if we want to have a little bit of dressing, you could serve that in a little cup or in a little spot on the side and let them actually dip their vegetables into it. Hummus would be another option that you could use instead of dressing. So think about ways that you can be creative with salads this summer. If you're making a salad for your family, just pick out some of the ingredients and separate those on a plate if you've got some that are not big salad eaters in your family. When we think about salads, we can actually include things from all different parts of our plate. We might have some vegetables. We could even put some fruit in there. We've got our protein. On this plate, we had some chicken. You could use beans or eggs as well. And you could even incorporate some grains into that meal. So salads don't just have to be a part of a meal. It could actually be the main course. I hope you've enjoyed this segment of Storytime Cooks, and we'll come back and join us again next week as we continue to learn about food through books.
We love food colored green, bell peppers and long string beans, pickles, celery, cucumbers too. All these foods